question to both of you ladies. First of all, thank you for the presentations. They were lovely, amazing to share your experience, and it all resonated with me, definitely. So my question is about the office, let's say, space where you operate mostly, because I hear a lot of coaches say it might work anywhere, coffee shops or whatever else, and I hear some others who say I prefer to hire an office and be locked in there and tell people to come to me rather than me accommodating them anywhere. So what are your thoughts on this?
So let's start.
Oh, sure.
Go on then.
Do you want to go
I'll
first?
get out of the way.
Harry?
All right, my idea, I feel very strongly about this actually, because the idea of coaching in a coffee shop when you have people, maybe a client in floods of tears, you at the key moment, you're just getting to exactly that key moment in the coaching session, the waiter comes and starts clearing up and shuffling the plates around you. I just can't bear it. So I actually straight away got my own space, which I eventually, in the beginning, I hired a room in therapy rooms, which you can do. And the coaching in a quiet space where you can just concentrate on the person, my God, I'd never go back. Absolutely. I think it's really important. And also, if you're a professional coach, this is totally my way of looking at it, you need to give a professional service so people come to a professional place. That's my opinion. That's how I've always run my business. Yeah.
So I feel very strongly about it as well, but it's partly because of the type of coaching I do. So I trained as a therapist as well. So my coaching often overlaps between coaching and therapy. And you're just not going to do therapy in a coffee shop, and that makes it obvious. I do my coaching from two locations. One is my home. So I have a dedicated room in the home where I spend, and it's really set up for coaching. And then the other one is I've got an office in London. And I like it because I live out in the countryside. It's 20 minutes outside London, but it's got a very retreat-style feel. So I can encourage my clients to also come to me and step away from their current environment. So thinking also about the kind of clients you work in, but I'm very strong on coffee shops don't just work. They just don't work.
And one of the things to over here. One of the things to also think about is if you don't have the resources to either change a space in your home or to hire a space, and think about how you can work on Skype with a client so that they can be in a safe, secure space, and you can as well, but without having to pay for an office space. So think about, what are the alternatives that you can use as well.
Yeah, so Skype is one option, but there's also things like Airbnb, for example. I mean, yes, in theory, you're supposed to be booking an Airbnb room to sleep in, but why don't you just book the same room and use that as a place to coach from?
Yeah, it's roomy,
I mean,
actually.
and you get places for like £15, £20 a day as well.
Lovely. So. There's a question on this table just here.
Hi, thank you for your speeches. Neena, that was really, really emotional. Thank you. What was the book you mentioned that it was about learning, that you didn't say the title of the book, if you don't mind? If you remember.
I knew I'd get that question. I was hoping Natasha will be here. I'll post it on the Animas lounge. It was by a guy called Aaron, and I've been looking for it ever since, and I can't find it. But I will post it on the lounge, I promise.
Cool, thank you. Let's have another question before we head off for a break.
Hello, thank you very much for your speeches as well. I come from a psychotherapeutic context, and I wondered what your thoughts are on the differences, and particularly from how I work, which is that we're very reluctant to work with people who are connected to each other. So working with other family members, it's not family therapy, so one-to-one therapy would be very reluctant to work with a husband and a wife separately, or sisters, or even friends. And whether that's different with coaching.
Well, it's quite interesting is that I did have this situation where I was coaching somebody, and then she wanted for me to coach her partner. And the way that I came to terms with this is I coached them together, because I actually thought that coaching two individual people, it would be me in the middle like a tug of war, and it wouldn't work, absolutely. And I don't coach friends. I don't coach people who I have already an opinion about them, because I think that's just going to I won't have the objectivity that I need to bring to the coaching space.
Yeah, I'm the same. I wouldn't coach a husband and wife separately, but I would coach them as a couple in how they're communicating with each other. And I just think the overriding concern for me is that it's a safe space for each of my clients to be able to open up. and you just can't. So I've had situations, for example, where there's been a boss or an employee, or there's been a mother and there's been a daughter, and it just doesn't work for me. So I'll find someone else who can coach them so they both feel supported. In terms of the psychotherapy, it's an interesting one. So I use therapy, but only to the extent that it helps free them up to achieve their goals. So I'm trying to draw a distinction for myself between actually doing pure therapy, which is the healing of the wounds and going into it, where some of my clients do need that, and I'll recommend a therapist for them. But I do go into the childhood to the extent that it then frees them up for their current goals.
Lovely, awesome stuff. Can I ask you to give them a round of applause one more time?